Hi guys, I'm Dr. Kiana from Indara Naturals, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about single strand knots. Now, single strand knots are exactly what they sound like. They are tiny knots that form when a single strand of hair has wrapped around itself and tied itself into a knot. These can be very damaging to your hair for multiple reasons. One is because those tiny knots on one strand of hair can get caught on neighboring strands of hair and form a larger tangle. So if you're going through on wash day trying to detangle your hair and you're finding that you have a lot of tangles, one reason for that could be that you have a lot of single strand knots. Single strand knots on the ends of your hair can also cause breakage and split ends, so we really want to prevent them as much as possible. Now, if you have curly hair, single strand knots are pretty much inevitable. You're not going to be able to prevent them 100% of the time, but we would like to minimize how many single strand knots are forming in our hair, and then we want to catch them early and get rid of them so that they don't cause any further damage to the rest of our hair. Some causes for single strand knots are dryness and styling options. So for dryness, of course, I say this in every video, you need to be deep conditioning. If you deep condition your hair on a regular basis, every 1 to 2 weeks, your hair is going to be hydrated, it's going to be moisturized, and your strands are going to have more slip so that they're not so dry and then getting caught on themselves or on neighboring strands of hair. So you want to make sure that you're deep conditioning regularly. You also want to make sure that if you have extended time between washes, so if you're washing every 2 weeks or every 3 weeks, then you need to be going in every few days and rehydrating your ends. Especially, I use the argan oil leave-in conditioner, and I just take a little bit every few days and rub it on the ends of my hair. And then I also go over with a little bit of the pre-shampoo oil, just a few drops on my fingertips, and rub it on the ends of my hair, and that helps to prevent single strand knots. It keeps my ends moisturized and keeps my strands from tangling and wrapping around themselves. Also, you want to be careful about what styles you wear. So like I said, curly hair is more prone to single strand knots, and curly styles kind of exacerbate the problem. So I like to wear my hair natural. I like to wear it curly. So what I do is just make sure that I'm not allowing those styles to get too dry. So if you do a twist out, on day 1, if you keep your twist out in for 2 weeks, it's really important to make sure that you are going in every few days and moisturizing. Also, as your hair gets longer, you'll find that some of the styles, maybe your technique needs to change, or maybe you need to add a little more product to the ends, because as the ends of your hair get older, they are more fragile, they are more prone to damage and breakage, and single strand knots become more common. So if you have a very short haircut, single strand knots generally are not going to be an issue for you. But as your hair grows out, you want to make sure that you're being mindful and paying attention to how your ends feel. When you rub your hands down the ends, down your hair shaft, and you get to the ends and it feels rough, usually that's because you have a lot of single strand knots. So when that happens, you want to make sure that you get a good trim. And then moving forward, you want to make sure that you're keeping your ends nice and moisturized so that that doesn't continue to happen. I found that once my hair got past probably maybe bra strap length or mid back length, I had to stop wearing wash and goes as often, because wash and goes were really causing my hair to tangle, especially if you use a gel with a soft hold. Then your curls are a lot looser, they move a lot more freely, and they have a lot of opportunities to curl around themselves. I find that twist outs and braid outs kind of keep the sections a little bit more separated, so I don't have as much of an issue with single strand knots when I wear those styles. But that may vary from person to person, so it's just something to be aware of. So to recap, single strand knots can cause tangles, they can cause breakage, they can cause split ends, and the way you prevent them is by deep conditioning regularly, and then moisturizing your ends between wash days to make sure that they're not tangling on themselves. And once you find single strand knots, the only way to get rid of them is to cut them. You don't want to just pull them out because that causes split ends. So you want to cut them with a sharp pair of scissors. If you find that the ends of your hair are very rough all around, then you need to just do a full trim all around. But if you're detangling and you run into 1 or 2 single strand knots, you can just grab the scissors and cut then and there. Make sure that you're only cutting a few strands at a time. I mean, if you're combing through your hair and you find a knot, you want to detangle with your fingers as much as you can to get rid of the hairs that will easily slip out. And then, you know, if there's 3 or 4 hairs left that are caught up in that knot, you can just cut it with a pair of scissors. So I hope this video has helped you guys. If you have any questions, as always, you can email me at contact@indaranaturals.com. I always respond to your emails, so just let me know what your question is. It doesn't have to be related to this topic. It can be any hair care question that you have, or if you have questions about our products, what product you need to select and how to use them, you can email me about that as well. And if you're not already on my email list, make sure you sign up for weekly hair care tips and more videos like this one.